I'm Audrey. I am Audrey of Witch Talk, and thank you for logging in to our episode on the Threefold Law. Is it BS or is it bylaw? So thank you for logging in today. Now, first, I would like to go ahead and preference this is going over the history of this, because after this week, it's September 16th, 2025 right now. If this week has been a witchcraft has been getting a lot of airs, a lot of attention because of this week. This blood moon season has definitely been popping off. So I would like for y'all to tune in with me. Take a couple of deep breaths first. In. Out. Today is going to be fun. We're going to be going over the history of this law. Does it apply to you? And where did it come from? So, welcome to Witch Talk. Now, I'd like to preference this was in the beginning of my witchcraft journey, of my magical journey. I was trained. If y'all are familiar on how Wicca works, it works as a high priestess trains a maiden that's basically her apprentice, and then after so many years, you wind up becoming a high priestess yourself. Okay. Now, my high priestess that I was trained under, I was trained between ages of 18 to about 20. And I still talk and spend time with my high priestess, Mama J. And I am very thankful for her. I'm very thankful for her and what she's taught me and what she's vested me in my magical journey. So I'm able to turn around and give it to you. Okay. So the way this hierarchy usually works, that's the expansion of it. Okay. And during my learnings, my teachings of this, it wasn't true Wicca. Now, if you're not familiar with Wicca, Wicca is a naturalistic spiritual practice created and spearheaded by Gerald Gardner. His lifespan was 1884 to 1964. Okay. And he published High Magic's Aid in 1949 and Witchcraft Today in 1954, where he formed these ideas of magical ethics. Lord, of course, it came from a man. Wicca is a religion. It is a spiritual-based religion. To clarify this, you do not have to be Wiccan to be a witch, and you do not have to be a witch to be Wiccan. Okay? There are two separate things. Yes, there are Wiccan witches. There are also Hellenistic witches. There are also Norse witches. So keep that preference in mind. It's just adding a religious practice to your already magical one. So in 1949, Magic's Aid hits the streets by Gardner. Okay? It sets the scene where a character says power sent out to others returns to you 3 times. Bless his heart. Later, Raymond Buckland, a student of Gardner, who brought Wicca to the U.S. in the 1960s, and Doreen Valentine, which I think that's how you say her name, Gardner's high priestess, expanded on these teachings. Now you have to realize during the 60s and 70s became the hippie movement. A lot of love, a lot of light, a lot of free love. My mother-in-law was a part of that movement, and I have to say, she raised good kids. That's my husband. And in the 1970s, as all this, hippie free love ideology is coming down, spiritual ideology is coming down, so is the Threefold Law return. Okay, so why threefold? Why the letter 3? Well, in Western occultism, the number 3 symbolizes completion, balance, and sacred power. So keep this in mind: body, soul, birth, life, death, the triple goddess. 3 is very impactful when it comes to our spirituality and when it comes to Wicca. 3 and 7s. Saying, and the concept of this is saying that if you cast chaotic energy, chaotic magic, I don't use black and white magic because there are racist demons into it. White, when you think of white magic or when you see white magic, think Linda, okay? You see white, pretty, pink, this pure, very Eve ideology. And when you think black magic, usually it came from the idealism of voodoo, hoodoo, root work. It stemmed in racism. I don't participate in that. Period, point blank. So the correct way to address it, and the way I teach it to my students, is chaotic or maleficent intentions or magic. Because chaos is disrupting the already energy, bending it and twisting it to what you want. Harmonious magic already emphasizes the frequencies that are already there. So just a little tidbit for the day. So whenever you cast chaotic magic, it's twisting and turning against the tides of the energies and the intentions that are already there and bending it to your own. Think of it like Play-Doh. Okay? So it's saying that when you twist and turn things against its already pre-programmed energy, it returns to you threefold. Now, keep this in mind. Binding and banishing would be considered chaotic magic, or an in-between. Even though they have good and protective purposes, they are still going against the grain of the energies and the magics that are already at work. Saying that the return of the threefold made the concept feel very real spiritually, and undeniable. It's also a way to discourage using magic for harm. Wicca was presenting itself to the public as a peaceful and ethical religion. So when you think of witches, if you go back through the history books, if you go back through the history books, from the Magnus Magna Carta, witch hunts in Europe, to Salem witch trials now, been to Salem multiple times, love it. I'm coming for you this year, by the way, Salem. Probably in winter. I get to see my Holy Land in winter. So excited. It is festered and fueled by women seeking out these devilish dark arts, twisting and turning the hearts of men, taking away making them impotent, taking away their masculinity, seducing and frolicking with evil and unholy Sabbaths and everything else. Just watch Salem the show. That's basically what everyone thinks that witchcraft is. And it's outright bullshit. It's outright bullshit. I bought a copy of the Magnus Magna Carta and I went through it and I've studied it. And it's just really fueled by, it's basically the red pills of that time. So keep that in mind. So since witchcraft had such a negative, and this kind of spirituality, a naturalist spirituality, has such a negative view of being twist the bones and bend the back, kind of dull and trouble. Thanks that Shakespeare for that one. Is twisted and turned to be this wicked, awful, devilish kind of way. They had to present it, as look, it's very love and light, very happiness, very Eve, very, we're just out here, no backbone, talking to trees, non-violent kind of thing. And they had to go back at that time for it to be accepted. People were looking for a different way to connect their spirituality, and this was it. Like, it was, they had to present it as we're not violent, we're not out here casting curses left and right, trying to steal your daughter's virginities and corrupt your menfolk. So Wicca has now hit the United States in the 1960s, and it has spread across the United States. And it's been strongly associated with Wicca public image. Now, you might be familiar with some of these authors that have publicized this. Scott Cunningham is one of them. And I use his stuff. There's a correspondence encyclopedia that I use, and I have my eye on it right there, that literally I recommend every witch to get. Now, it only covers love and light stuff. It only covers it does not cover baneful magic or chaotic magic use. So keep that in mind. So you'll have to do your own research on that, and you'll have to get your own books on that, which I have a whole forbidden section that I can go over with you guys on recommendations and how to interact with that. Silver Raven Wolf is another one. When I first started getting into witchcraft, I did buy one of her books. And it's really, how do I say this properly? It reads like a gentle parent manual. It doesn't have a lot of meat on it. For someone who wants to expand their knowledge of witchcraft and know both sides. Because you have to realize witchcraft comes from nature. Nature is both terrible and beautiful. It has the ability to flood towns and kill billions of people with fire, but it also has the ability to heal, to cleanse, to ground, to be beautiful. That's where witchcraft stems from, in my personal opinion, is that it stems from nature. It stems from the cosmos. It stems from the universe. You have to realize the stars are absolutely beautiful, but they're also balls of fire that can blow up and kill everything. So it is a beautiful and magnanimous force. So keep that in the back of your mind. These ideas are blended with ideas of karma. They borrow loosely from Hinduism and Buddhism, though they are not the same. Today, a lot of pop Wicca and neo-pagan circles, it's very common. That's why a lot of people are taught this, or when they go and then they're self-taught, because witchcraft is self-taught a lot. when they go and they're self-taught, they realize, oh, if I do this, it'll come back. And in my opinion, that stems from a lot of fear of stepping into your own power, because within my generation, in the past couple generations, and then a couple generations before, like ahead of me or after me, sorry, we were, a lot of our autonomy was taken by the culture in which we were raised. So a lot of our decision making, a lot of our free will, a lot of big decisions were taken from us because of some unethical methods, or maybe in my case, unethical parenting. So many witches, but many traditional witches and other occult paths do not use it. I do not use a threefold rule. Because, I phrase it to my witches like this. If someone breaks into your home and threatens you, your family, and your house and your property, do you not have the right to protect it? Yes, you do. You have that right. You have the right to give or not give consent when it comes to your person, your family's protection, and your property. It's the same way with witchcraft. You have a spiritual home. You have your life and your existence is your spiritual house. You have the right to protect that and protect yours. And witchcraft is an amazing and beautiful tool to do that, in my personal opinion. A lot of witches see it as a teaching tool, not a cosmic law. And I will tell you how I approach chaos magic. Hexing and cursing, ethics 101. In my personal opinion, this is what I do. I don't take hexing and cursing super lightly. And here's the difference between both. Hexing is very much a one-time pop-off firework. Okay? This is getting someone to pop a tire. Now, for legal reasons, I'm not recommending doing any of this. It's popping a tire, acne breakout, temporary impotence. These are all examples of a hex. Something that's popped off once that doesn't have permanent harm. Now we get to curses. Curses are a long-term deal. Think Maleficent, when in the Disney movie, when she curses Aurora, that was 16 years. Okay, curses are a long-term process. Now, it depends what the curse is. It depends how you put the curse together, frame the curse, and execute the curse. That causes that. Okay, I have cast a curse that it didn't come. It went to a slow climax and did not fully reach its full potential. 8 years, 7, 8 years. And then I've cast curses that only took a couple of months for me to see some big action, like the final finale. So keep that in mind. Also, just to let you know, curses have serious effects, long-term serious effects. I've seen curses where they led to people's deaths. I have seen it where it's led to entire lives and families being ruined. Personally, not for me. I didn't do any of that. But I didn't do any family ruining, so sorry, can't tell you that, T. But I have seen it where For example, a friend of mine didn't know she was sleeping with a married guy. Okay? And she's a witch. So, of course, she did not take that kindly. So, she got a tag lock. She cast a curse. And she made this curse where everything he touched would reverse Midas. So instead of turning to gold, it would decay. I thought it was pretty cleverly done. So as he went and did more, as he went and tried to do more, it kept turning against him. He tried working on his marriage, it fell apart. He tried to go forward in his job and he wound up getting fired. He tried to pursue other women and they wound up all rejecting him and falling apart, and at some point he got scammed. So keep in mind, curses are long affecting, hexes are a short pop. So keep that in mind. 2, chaotic magic is not something just hex off willy-nilly. Okay? You don't want to be a hexual bitch. Okay? Oh yeah, this is adult language only. So little people, not for you. So what I do before I cast a serious hex or a serious curse, besides binding and banishing, I don't qualify those. Yes, they are technically, but binding is making where someone's negative energy only affects them. It's like it's like putting a fairy in a jar. Don't do that. But it's kind of like putting a person in a little jar, turn on the lid, where their only nil negatives only just like swirl around them. If you looked at the craft, very good example. Banishing. Just like the medieval saying, you are literally throwing them out of your life, throwing their energy out of their life, throwing their influences out of your life, throwing it, just literally taking it and tossing it in the trash and going, boop, Kobe. So, those are the difference in that one. Okay? I use that as a form of protection. Now remember, there are chaotic methods to do everything. A true love spell is chaotic magic, because you are bending and twisting someone's emotions, feelings, and intentions towards you into obsession. You can't truly make someone love you, but you can make them obsessed with you. And I've seen a lot of it go backwards very quick, and that seems to be a very quick. That seems to be very common with witches that just start. Is, little hexes, and then of course love spells, which don't do the love spells. Don't do the love spells. Love spells take a lot of they take a very good phrasing, a very good they take some finesse. That's a good word for it. Finesse is a good word for it. So this is how I approach chaos magic. First, I have baneful wards. These are wards that bite back. If you fuck with my wards, they bite back. And I have wards around things that are precious to me. Come here, little sneaker. This is one of them. I have protective wards on my familiar. This is Strider, named after Aragorn's rogue name. I have baneful wards on him. If you kick my cat, it's going to come back to you. Don't do that. Also, he's just a good baby. He's 20 pounds of love. He was fighting raccoons on the street, and then he got adopted by a white woman. And now every time he follows me around or I open that bottom drawer, he meows and begs for treats. And if, God forbid, if I shut the door of the bathroom, he's going to meow and scratch at it. He also sleeps at the foot of my bed every night. And then cuddles with me. 10 out of 10. Get the familiar. Boy cats are the best. That's how I keep a lot of the chaos magic popping off. So if someone comes to hex me, it automatically bounces back and bites back. And I have different ones that do extreme. My most extreme baneful wards are on me and mine, my kids, and my husband. I say this depending on the intent of how you want to harm my kids. It's going to bite you. Okay? And the severity of what you do is going to be multiplied by 3 times 7. It's 21. And it's going to come back to you at that time with that much intensity. I transmuting it to turn your bullet into an atomic bomb. Don't mess with my children. You should be messing with children anyway, but definitely not mine. Baneful wards. Perfect little setup. Okay? It usually keeps the bad out. It usually fights for you upon that case. I refresh them every Soin and then every Litha. I usually do about 6 months between the major Sabbaths through half the year. The longest day of the year and then the short. I do the longest day of the year, and of course I do Samhain because it's Samhain. You should do most of your Sam work on Samhain because it's just so freaking powerful. 2, if I get the itch to hex somebody, okay, the first thing I do is I consult my cards. Because sometimes my emotions, well, this actually covers for a lot of people. Sometimes your emotions are the best of you. Was it meant to be personal? Or did I just take it like that? So what I do is I consult my cards or some type of divination. And I want to see the whole picture. Okay? Now, if there is a victim involved, I have had people come to me where there was adult on child violence and it led to the child's death in a horrific way, where I have used necromancy, which is a shadow art. I wouldn't really call it chaotic. It's part of the shadow realm. Necromancy, I guess it would be called a chaotic art, because you're reaching beyond something within your plane. And I would talk to the victim, and I'll get their personal account. I have natural abilities when it comes to necromancy because of my star sign, my approach to death, and my natural talents. I'm not good at math, but hell, I can talk to the dead. So I usually ask the victim. With the gods that I worship, and the one that I'm a high priestess to, which is Lilith, she is the protector of women and children. My south node is in Sagittarius, so I'm very much a justice warrior. I cannot stand injustice. I cannot stand mistreatment. How do I describe this properly? It's not a bullying in my blood. It literally is like, I imagine that moment when a dragon's about to spit fire and it's like right here and the whole blood just like is about to explode like a volcano. I can't. I can't keep my mouth shut or my message to myself. So keep that in mind. because I feel like as our personal duties, which is we are supposed to protect the people that can't protect themselves, animals, children, in our political climate, minorities, people who do not have the same equal standing. And I believe it's our job to do it. Small rant over. So I usually consult my cards. Okay. And then I do a 24 to 40 hour cooling off period. There is times where this cooling off period has saved so many people from my wrath. And this was something that a friend of mine actually passed to me. And it came to emotions, and I kind of applied it to my magical practice, is 24 to 48 hours to cool off. And if it still sits with me, if my anger surpassed and I can see past my own emotions, I journal about it. I go about my processing process, my emotional process, and then I start crafting, spell crafting. Now, a curse can be a simple candle dressing. It can be a poppet. It can be a jar. It can be a lemon. It can be a lot of different things and how you do a lot of different kinds of things. I do not tell people how to craft curses and hexes willy-nilly unless I truly, truly trust them. Because not everyone needs that kind of power. Like if my biological father was a witch, that's kind of dark sorcery that I don't want no part of. So, usually when I practice chaos magic, I usually do it in secret. I usually do it in the dark. And no one ever knows until it's after come to fruition. And I craft it according to the crime, basically. Because when you're doing chaos magic, you are the judge, jury, and executioner. Now, like any spellcraft, it doesn't always manifest. It's not like Harry Potter where you go blah 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 and then it just pops up. No, it takes time. It's like if you think about it like this: if you think of a careen of rocks, okay, and you spill water at one end, and it pops up, and you think it's going to come down here, but it actually pops up here. Okay, that's usually how magic works. You never know where the other end is going to be. You don't know how magic's going to manifest. Once you give it life, it has a will of its own with only one intention. So keep that in mind. It is an extension of your power. So, and you're transmuting it with that intention and with that purpose. So now I'm not going to go over how to cast a curse, any hexing techniques or things along those lines. We all know the kind of basics because of TikTok with witch talk, which is the jar, the freezer jar. The freezer jar is literally freezing someone in place. It's like putting someone in a very cold timeout where they can't evolve and grow, which of course, from my experience with magic, so you're constantly evolving, you're constantly growing. You're basically a plant that talks. Your job is to grow and go through cycles and evolve to where you move on to the next one. And we all might be familiar with the lemon curse. There are bigger and better and badder curses out there, but that's up to your own research. Until I might release that knowledge. I might not. But you can find ways. So let's talk about ways that I go. If I don't want to cast chaotic magic, but I do want to teach them a lesson, there are multiple ways to do it. My favorite one is rubber and glue spell. Everyone knows that nursery rhyme. I'm rubber, your glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. Rubber glue spell with a 3x3 cap. Basically basically putting that threefold law into actual application in a spell form. Have I ever done a curse or a spell or anything and it's come back to me threefold? No. And I think within 8-10 years it would be hitting me. So no. It only is true if it's true for you. And you can apply it to your practice if you want to give yourself some moral guidance and compass. But if you're not Wiccan and if you don't subscribe to it, you don't have to. It's your personal choice. Witchcraft is tailored to you. It is a buffet of spiritual beliefs that you can pick and choose that you want to practice. You might want to be an eclectic witch. You might want to be a green witch. You might want to be a Hellenistic witch. You can pick all of those, take it and use it as your practice path and apply it if you want to. If you don't have to, you don't have to. There's no bylaws of witchcraft. Okay, it's not like organized religions. We don't have a Bible of do's and don'ts. You make them up according to yourselves. So, I usually do a rubber and glue spell. Also, I do a karmic spell. So, whatever evil energies you put out, or whatever good energies you put out, because it goes both ways. Whatever you put out into the universe comes back to you. That's how I phrase the spell. That's why I call it a karmic spell. So you basically what you do. It's like, and the way you phrase it and the way you craft it is karma that you've sown, and seeds that you have put, let them fruition and harvest and hit you in the nook or something along those lines. You don't have to rhyme or anything, but I grew up on charms and I think it adds a little bit of pizzazz. It makes it easier to remember. It's basically phrasing the spell, whatever seeds of kindness or not you sow automatically hits you at one time. Fun times. It's neither light or dark because it's just kind of a good in between, a limbo magic, because you're just giving back whatever they sow. It's kind of like a return policy. That's a good one. Let me see. Those are kind of my two major go-tos. Yeah. I usually do ones where I also do like minor transmuting. So a lot of you might have seen this on TikTok. Transmuting is basic law of physics is energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be changed, which is basically magical law. So what I do is whatever negativity is put towards me, I transmute it into prosperity, abundance, protection. I turn into a blessing of different kinds. So thanks, guys. So keep that in mind. Now you can always, because if they're just talking trash and doing minor things, it's not really upsetting. It's not really like anything crazy. You can actually transmute that to make you more beautiful, more successful, more driven, things along those lines. And I definitely recommend that one. My biological family talks about me all the dang time, and I'm living a pretty good life right now. So keep that in mind. And also keep your mind open. Like, you can probably think of stuff too and comment on the post or things along those lines to, of your ideas that you have to either, they're not quite spells and they're not quite curses and hexes, but you still use them anyway, or what is your process before you cast chaos magic? I would love to hear it to add to my magical practice. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, of course, you can always reach out to me through Facebook, Instagram, email. Don't forget to keep an eye on our blog. We release articles pretty regularly. I want to try to do more with the podcast. I know it's a bit easier for people to, really enjoy. So stick around. I can't wait to hear from you guys. Thank you for logging into Witch Talk. Once again, I am Audrey, the High Priestess of Witch Talk. So you guys have a great day, and blessed be witches.